Jamaica is on fire right now, but that is not stopping me from making beautiful resin crafts. You may already know that resin is very sensitive to extreme temperatures. In excessive heat, it can harden in a flash. So I'm going to share the little things I do that allows me to work with resin in hot, hot Jamaica. For this project, I will be using 2-part epoxy resin and the mixing ratio is 1 to 1. We bought gallon bottles of resin containers, so I just got 2 condiment bottles to use so I wouldn't have to struggle with the big bottles. I am using a 100 milliliters silicone measuring cup to mix 80 milliliters of resin. That is 40 milliliters of the resin and 40 milliliters of the hardener. The first tip I want to share is to work with small amounts at a time. Now let me hasten to say that 80 milliliters is not a small amount of resin if you are making small items like jewelry or keychains. Mixing colors and adding glitters and other things to resin takes a lot of time, and you just do not have a lot of time when you're working in an environment where the temperature is above 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I mixed this much resin because I am working on another project, and for that project, I only need a layer of clear resin, so that will take me less than 2 minutes to pour the amounts that I need in the different molds. That project will be the next full video, so come back on Wednesday if you want to see how it turned out. When the 2 parts of the mixtures have been added into the measuring cup, I can see the difference. So I mix gently until the 2 mixtures combine properly. I am happy that I was filming this because I am able to tell you that it took just 1 minute and 2 seconds. The first time I made resin, I mixed for 4 minutes because that is what was largely recommended. By the time I was done mixing, my resin was warm and it had a lot more bubbles than I now get. At some point, I realized that I can actually see the difference in the mixtures, and so I just need to mix until the mixtures were fully incorporated into each other. And so this takes me to my second tip. Although it is good, even important, to learn from others, including me, your best teacher will be yourself, your own experience. So don't be afraid to make minor adjustment to see if something else will work better for you. Of course, this does not include the resin ratio. You have to follow your manufacturer instruction on that. The third tip I want to share is to do something that I didn't do in this video, and that is to put on all your safety gears before you begin to mix your resin. Again, because time is so limited, you don't have that extra minute to get up and to put on your gears when you are reminded that you're missing a piece. I never forget to put on my respirator, but as you can see, I occasionally forget to wear my gloves. Safety, guys, is never something to be neglected. The fourth tip is to divide the resin into smaller containers. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I feel like the smaller the amount of resin in my container, the longer it takes to heat up. That is what I've observed from my experience. In any event, dividing it up like this also allows me to move more quickly, especially when I'm working with different colors. The fifth tip is perhaps the number one tip to resin in hot climate, and that is to plan everything and set up your station with everything possible before you begin. Now, I usually do this the night before I resin. I have a clear vision of what I want to make, the different molds, the different colors, the different designs that I want to use, and I put everything out: mica powders, glitters, paper towel, alcohol, stir sticks, and so on. I always put out extra molds and make sure that they are clean just in case the resin is warming up faster than I am moving and I need to put it in a mold real quick. Most of the time though, I don't end up using the extra molds, but having them on hand just helps to reduce my anxiety. A quick note on colorants. At Lion Hair Art graciously commented on a short video I did showing that my resin didn't cure. He mentioned that colorants can affect the curing process. So just be careful with the amount of colorants you use. I haven't had any issues with that so far, but just be aware. The sixth and final tip is the hardest, but it is something we have had to do to buy us some extra time, and that is to resin when the temperature is the coolest. For us, that means waking up to begin our resin projects at around 4 a.m. because that is the coolest part of the day in Jamaica, which is still above the ideal temperature to work with resin at, which is around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Working with resin at that time has become the norm for us. I am only working with resin at this time of the day because I wanted to film it. I am sharing these tips with you because I want you to know that even though it's not ideal to work with resin in excessive heat, it can be done. So don't let it stop you if you happen to live in an area where the heat is excessive. There's a lot more that I have to share about making resin jewelry while living in Jamaica, but everything cannot hold in one video, so next time. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I truly hope you found the tips helpful. The next video will show my first attempt at creating the gemstone effect with iridescent mica powders. So please stick around if you want to see that. My name is Dell, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well as a restful night.